Hello, my name is Stephanie Giles, and here is a critical view of the current management plan, as well as further recommendations of future management to keep the Banff National Park growing while continuing to maintain both its ecological and recreational integrity. Banff National Park is one of Canada's oldest national parks, being around for over 100 years. It first started out as a federal reserve based off the discovery of the hot springs by some railway workers and further became established in 1885. It is located in the Rocky Mountains of Calgary, Alberta, and is known to be the most visited Alberta tourist destination, as well as one of North America's most visited national parks. In 1984, Banff was declared a UNESCO World Heritage Site due to the many beautiful landscapes in the area, including lakes, waterfalls, wildlife, canyons, mountains, and of course the beautiful hot springs, which have been set aside as a protected reserve, but the park has made some adjustments and began adding user fees to the facilities and services to help deal with the budget costs to conserve as well as preserve the flora and fauna, and to minimize any crowding effects that would further decay and erode the land and natural resources the area provides us with. Banff National Park is managed by Parks Canada under the National Parks Act, which was passed in 1930. Over time, it is said that the park management policies have increasingly emphasized environmental protection over development in the area. The park sets out a vision for the future that seeks to protect the unique natural and cultural heritage of the park while continuing to provide individuals with the memorable experiences that allow Canadians to connect in meaningful ways with their mountain heritage. The Canadian Rockies are composed of sedimentary rock, including shale, sandstone, limestone, and quartzite, that originate as deposits on a continental shift. Banff National Park has numerous large glaciers and ice fields, but like many other glaciers around the world, the glaciers in Banff are retreating at an alarming rate. This has become a major concern for the parks as they are researching what impact reduced glacier ice may have on water supplies to streams and rivers. If too much ice is melting from these glaciers due to climate change, the rivers and streams will become very harsh because the current will become much more strong. As well, because of the rise in water and more intense currents, more land will become eroded and this will affect ecosystems as a whole. There are 3 ecoregions in Banff National Park, and these are montane, subalpine, and alpine. A small portion of the park located at lower elevations in the montane ecoregion, and it consists of only 3% of the park. This area is where a majority of habitat prefer to be, and unfortunately this area has been subjected to significant human development over the years. The subalpine ecoregion, which consists mainly of dense forests, comprises 53% of Banff's total land area. 27% of the park is located above the tree line in the alpine ecoregion, and much of this area is covered by glaciers. These 3 ecoregions have their own zone, and each zone is managed in its own unique way to foster sustainable change in a conservative manner, since each zone needs to be managed differently. Banff National Park is home to 53 species of mammals. The park has an incredible diversity of wildlife, both flora and fauna, and this is a great reflection of the wide range of habitats found in the area due to elevation, climate, and plant and animal communities. Due to harsh winters, the park has very few reptiles and amphibians, with only 1 species of toad, 3 species of frogs, and 1 salamander species, as well as 2 species of snakes that have been identified. There are also at least 280 species of birds, including the bald and golden eagles, the red-tailed hawk, and the merlin, all of which are predatory species. There are only 2 endangered species in Banff National Park, and these consist of the Banff spring snail, which is located in the hot springs, as well as the woodland caribou, which is found in Banff. The mountain pine beetle is the main predator of Banff's beautiful trees and dense forests. These beetles have caused a number of large-scale infestations in the park and have been known to feed off the phloem of mature large pole pines. As you can see, they really affect the forests. In Banff National Park, Parks Canada has adopted an ecosystem-based management approach that fulfills its mandate to preserve ecological integrity in the park ecosystems while providing for visitors' enjoyment and benefit. This management approach is holistic and makes decisions based on an understanding of the whole ecosystem rather than individual species or communities. It is important to keep in mind that humans are a part of this natural balance and are a central concept as well as integral part of these ecosystems. Some recreational opportunities in Banff include fishing, biking, birdwatching, ice skating, scuba diving, horseback riding, and mountaineering. Some prohibited activities in the area are hunting, motorized off-roading traveling, ice fishing, snowmobiling, parachuting, collecting natural objects, and use of personal watercraft. These activities become prohibited because regulations need to be implemented to lessen the impacts of humans create on both the land and species in the land, as well as their habitats. Banff National Park heavily focuses on conservation. Throughout its history, Banff National Park has been conflicted by 2 opposing conservation and developmental interests. The park has and continues to maintain as well as foster a strong environmental ethic because they want future generations to share the same ethic and appreciation for nature. The National Parks Act, which which places great emphasis on conservation, was amended in 1988, which made preserving ecological integrity the first priority. The Trans-Canada Highway that passes through Banff poses a major threat to wildlife in the area due to vehicle traffic. Social development is also a major threat or concern in the area because park conservations are worried about the overcrowding. Humans have impacted Banff's environment through introduction of non-native species, placing controls on other species, and development, as well as other human activity. I will be following the VERT framework, which focuses on visitor experience and resource protection, because this framework reflects the issues that are arising in Banff National Park due to the overcrowding, which is having a major impact on the land, as well as visitors' overall experience at the park. VERT framework suggests that, as it applies to parks, visitors' carrying capacity is defined as the type and level of visitor use that can be accommodated, while sustaining acceptable resource and social conditions that complement the purpose of the park. Every environment has a carrying capacity, and this is the maximum population of a given species that the environment can sustain through the food, habitat, water, and other natural resources available in the area. While the managers have little control over absolute numbers visiting the park, they have been able to exert some control by having ultimate authority over development in the area. A 1990 agreement between Canada and Alberta granted local government to the town of Banff, and soon afterwards a town community plan suggested that the permanent population should not exceed over 10,000 people. Banff National Park has many populated towns that have grown more populated over the years, leading to many negative impacts on the land. People in the area tend to have an anthropological view, seeing them as more superior or dominant to the land, when really we should become more ecocentric and see ourselves as part of the land, not separate from it. Direct effects that are caused by humans include habitat fragmentation or loss, such as forest fires, cutting down trees, or being too loud and making habitat or wildlife relocate, loss of species, erosion of trails, and pollution. The more humans, the more pollution. And also, garbage cans can take away from the aesthetic beauty of the land and smell, which brings bugs and unwanted predators such as bears. Humans need to learn the 7 leave no trace principles, which will further be explained later. Some indirect impacts include traffic, such as overcrowding, expansion of trails caused by erosion, poor air and water quality, as well, of course, as degraded land, which is caused from the overcrowding of individuals visiting the park. Some synergistic impacts are human-introduced invasive species, human-introduced wildfires, and passive migration of wildlife species. In regards to the social impacts and the busy traffic on the Trans-Canada Highway, wildlife crossings, including a series of underpasses and 2 wildlife overpasses, have been constructed at a number of areas along the highway to help alleviate the problem. An inspiring quote that I found is, "It is not what we built that truly makes us unique as a culture, but what we saved." This was a very inspiring quote for me because it really shows that our duty is to preserve all natural land to the best of our abilities. We have limited places on earth where we can appreciate nature and its essence, and we must sustain these locations so that future generations can enjoy them. For my management of Banff National Park, I'm going to focus on the ecological integrity of the area. Banff National Park provides a perfect setting for tuning into nature, learning about it, appreciating it, respecting it, and pledging to protect it. Humans can develop a strong connection with nature if they learn to live in unison with it. Natural heritage sites in the area providing the guests with in-depth knowledge on the species in the area, and the tips on how to travel with minimal impacts will be provided. I also want to develop public involvement, as visitor motives is something to take into consideration while managing a park, so you know what part of the park is being most abused and impacted, and what areas of the park need to be better managed as a result. You also want to give the public a voice in the matter so they feel a part of the conservative procedure, and therefore more involved and enthused in protecting the park. I also am going to monitor and regulate vegetation management and wildlife habitat, limit environmental impacts, continue providing manageable recreational opportunities to visitors, and many more. It is hoped that the implementation of this strategy will result in an overall healthy forest range, which will lead to a healthy ecosystem all around. The BC Wildlife Fire Management Strategy gives provincial direction for the management of fire that will effectively restore the natural role of fire and ecosystem processes, as well as improve our ability to continue providing a world-class level of wildlife fire responses. British Columbia's major goal and focus of the 21st century is to lead the world in sustainable environment management with the best air and water quality and the best fishery management, bar none. Banff National Park and other parks that are protected under the Banff National Parks Act will continue to innovate and create new ideas on how to minimize humans' impact on our sacred land. The focus of my management plan is to continue growing a balance between humans and the natural world, surrounding them by alleviating some of the major impacts we create through awareness, knowledge, and understanding. Banff National Park wants to continue to maintain a high level of both ecological and recreational integrity while continuing to provide opportunities for the public. I am hoping that my management plan will help to further sustain Banff National Park as well as make it more enjoyable so that future generations can appreciate the aesthetic beauty of the species and land as well as the resources that it can provide us with. Banff National Park is renowned for its long history of wildlife research and conservation, and its innovation in applied science of ecological restoration, and its role in Canadian tourism is very symbolic. Here are my references, and I really hope you enjoyed my presentation. Thank you.